Can I say another one?
Yo, I want to talk to y'all about something. I'm talking to you niggas about niggas being fucking cowards and shit. Now I know a lot of gangster niggas be like, fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
We kill each other,
nigga.
They're not the niggas oppressing us.
Right.
So I say, man, the guns.
Right. The guns, nigga. Let's go. Yo. Welcome to the
Yo,
Father, the Son, and the Trolley Ghost.
what's going on, peoples? What's up? What's up?
I'm your host, Heru, the first son.
It's Nyriq.
And today, we're going to talk about the science of self. My version, at least.
Hey, Rue, the first sub version.
Yeah. Which, as it should be, one might say, why talk about it on this podcast? Well, what else would a father be responsible for other than, as we discussed earlier, helping his children understand themselves, right?
Right.
To the extent that he understands self, right?
Yeah.
Because that's your charge, because that's your kid. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Child.
JIT work too for the ones in Florida. You know, they use JIT a lot.
Yeah, that's your jit, right? Yeah, they do that. Yes. I got familiar with slang from all over the country, messing around in the feds. You run into niggas from all over the country and all kind of slang. So yeah, quite familiar with that one. And they also say bike. They say put that bike there.
Oh man, yeah, because I was
You
like,
ever
what?
heard that? You ever heard that?
What? Put that bike there. Whoa, hold on.
I'm like the bike. What bike? No, bike there. Bike there.
Shit, they had a
Shit.
whole IKE to that. Damn.
Yeah, niggas like deep Florida, like generations deep Florida niggas. That's how they be talking. Like,
What they call it, like Gullah, right? Gullah, is that what that be? Gullah Geechee, man?
that's
No.
more South Carolina, like
Okay, my
the
fault.
islands out there. But yeah, we gonna get on the subject. So with this one, I wanted to open up with. One day I remember me and you were having a conversation, and I was telling you that you had to, just think about a certain couple things, and I asked you a couple crucial questions that, although they are very basic, you couldn't answer. And
Right.
I would say probably most people have never thought of the answer to these questions with regard to themselves. So I remember asking you, like, what were you about? Like, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, if you was to ask me now, I'd still probably be stunned because it's quite the weird question, you know. Because my main issue with it, because I'm like, I guess I overanalyze or whatever to the best that I can, and when you ask me that question, immediately I want to give an action. But right
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I understand that I'm not just an action. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm stuck trying to figure out an answer that works in between that equation.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still putting that together, but it's definitely a strong question, a simple one, but hard to answer.
Very simple. It seems on the surface, the question itself, but the answer, when you really sit there and think about it, it's just so. It's abstract almost. Like when you really think about it, how broad. What does that mean? Like how broad you trying to even categorize what your answer is going to be? Like even you talking about you thinking about an action. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Somebody else might think it's about a code, or somebody else might think it's about a group. and then, you
Right.
know, like or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Some
like
a, re-
accomplishments or
a
something.
religion or accomplishment. Like what? Yeah, but the funny thing is, the answer could be any of those, right?
Yep.
For you, as
So I mean,
far
so
as
far with everything that we talked about off camera, on camera, like I would say it could be any one of those answers as long as you as the person is comfortable with that being your answer.
that part is key. You being comfortable with that as an answer. So, boom, that starts to launch us into the science of the self. So, you being comfortable with the answer. Now, if you find yourself doing things that you don't want people to know, right?
Mm, okay. Right.
If you find yourself doing things that you don't want other people to know about, what do you think that means?
I mean, that sounds like you're doing shit you shouldn't be, or you don't want to do, or shameful shit.
Exactly. So you right there, right? You have to start to realize that if you doing shit, if you got all kind of secrets and shit, you're not in alignment with yourself. Okay, so I would say that. I mean, what do you think? Like, if you was doing something that you felt you should be doing, would you be like, yo, don't be letting that, and don't be, and
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah. You know what? Right? Yeah, you would be more open or upfront with what it is that you're doing because you wouldn't care to hide it.
Mhm. Mhm. So that like if I had to this is that what we just talked about and touched on right there, that's really important, but it's not the heart of the matter either though. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But it is something that's very important to get you to kind of lead you to the matter though. And this is the thing cuz I'm going to say this too as we get into all of this, like a lot of these guys out here that get into this type of stuff, spiritual stuff or whatever, they get really abstract and they be off in the clouds and in the outer space and all of this shit that you really it's really not practical. You know what I'm saying? When you boil it down and distill it as far as how you can actually use this information or apply
Yeah,
it
put
to your
it put it
daily.
to its best use in your real life right now.
Right, because you know a lot of people we may not know it, but we fill in our heads with a lot of useless information. If you think about information, is great, but information is just information. It doesn't mean it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean it's right, and it doesn't mean it's useful. It doesn't mean it's practical. It doesn't mean it has a place taking up space in your head. You know what I'm saying? So I like to be very practical about what I'm talking about and talk about these things in terms that's applicable to daily life, right? So I just want to put that out there. I mean, you, as you've known me and in this in the amount of time that you've known me and been building with me, what would you say as far as my style with that? Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I would agree totally because like everything that we've talked about and you know it's just been especially when it comes to things that I like jewels that you dropped on me that I haven't quite like I picked it up, I got it in my hand, but I don't understand until I go through
Mm-hmm.
the experience because you do that quite often sometimes. So so when I end up running into the situation, and then I'm like, oh, this is what you was talking about. This is how I should have approached it. This is what you meant. Now it makes it makes for more sense coming full circle, and it's really just helped me. Just tighten up certain areas of my life that I would say I was loose with before the
Mm-hmm.
guidance. Um, it's really straightforward. It's just that you gotta accept it. That'd be the key. Like because 9 times out of 10 it's pretty visceral.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you've been on the because sometimes the truth, and I've gotten to where, because I'm so accepting of the truth, like, I mean, I don't mean to be bludgeoning people with it sometimes, but that shit is hard. Certain things is hard to sugarcoat. You can't sugarcoat certain shit. It's like either you're gonna accept it raw just like it is, and like, cause that's how certain things are about life. Like, like the most obvious fact about everybody's life, the fact that we die. Like, that's something people go through the whole life just trying not to accept. Like, but there's no way to sugarcoat that.
Yeah, that one is crazy.
And a lot of people, a lot of things in life are just like that. You know what I mean? And I just tell it like it is. I try to be as polite as possible. So not all the time, but
All the time it's needed.
because it depends on who you dealing with, really. Honestly, like niggas nowadays, you gotta just be talking. You gotta say shit in the language that they speak, now, and it's savage. You know what I mean? So yeah, and bitches too, like, cause they don't be responding to positive energy like that. I've
Not
done
like
some
not like they claim.
no, I've done some scientific experiments, okay? Because I have a very scientific mind. Like, bitches respond far more readily to negative energy than the positive energy. You know what, though? I might have to edit that. That's for the next episode.
Man.
But,
No, we
yeah,
keep it in.
getting
We keep
back
it
on.
in.
Yeah, we might
They,
keep
they,
it.
they get the point. They get the point.
But, yeah, so we're getting back to the idea of not being in resonance with yourself, right?
Right.
Signs of that, secrets, okay? But being in resonance with yourself, okay? So we talking about an effect there. That's why I said that wasn't the main thing. That wasn't the heart of the matter. That was
Mm.
just that was just kind of an effect of self. Like, are you in resonance with it? It exists. Are you in resonance with it? That's the next step. But in resonance with it, what is self? What's the self?
I mean, you know, if I was to take a crack at it, you know, self is I mean, for me, self is just an, an expression and always, hmm,
It's
not
another
gonna
one of
lie.
them questions. It's another one of them
There you go.
questions. It's
There you
like
go. There you go. And, I
it's
don't want to
difficult
just
to
sound up
answer.
here to just be talking, to be talking. So I'm gonna just be stunted and make it just. I'd rather look stunted than try to talk and sound like I know something. You know what I mean? So,
Well, what you need? What the best thing about it though is that the first step to being wise is understanding how much you don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? So being able to say I don't motherfucking know is a great thing. Cause if that's the whole concept of you can't fill a cup that's already full. If you are, these niggas out here like, oh, the self is this and that and the third and the sun and the moon and the stars. You can't tell them what it is, cause they already know in their universe and in their head. All right, cool, go with that then, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But what is yourself though? You know what I'm saying? Before you feel anything, before you do anything, before you think anything, there's an awareness at at the center of what you are, right? Would you like
okay.
you can you think can you conceptualize that like there's that
Yeah.
I.
quick. It's funny that you say that. I was just talking with my guy today. That
Mm-hmm.
I would, in my opinion, just to express what I would interpret that is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that like me myself, I'm always observing everything that's happening to me and around me. Like even my own thoughts, I can observe myself think a thought
Exactly.
and it not be like me that made the thought though. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of crazy.
Exactly. So when you start to be able to locate that thing in everything that's going on with you, you start to get in touch with yourself, because that's what it is.
Okay, facts.
It's it's that original observer before anything happens. He's just sitting there watching everything.
Okay, okay,
You understand what I'm saying?
got it.
So
It's like before you even subscribe to thoughts of ideas and religion and whatnot, you just
right, and you have to. I had to put this thing together through my own, primarily first and foremost, my own experience in life, but then also being able to connect it to other, but not just one religion, like the idea of the I, because the Rostam said I and I,
right.
right? Them use the term I and I when them are referred to self, and then when I'm talking about like me, like yo, I and I go out the store or anything. So
Hmm.
I and I, and the idea of the holy I and the most high I. It's the I. It's that
Mm,
original observer that's just there watching and watching because it's the same in everyone, right? So it's the I, it's the small I, me, and then there's
and it's
I,
the big
I,
eye,
I and
big
I.
eye. Yeah, okay,
You
I
know
and
what I
I.
mean?
Ah,
So that's one of those clues to help you zero in on what you really talking about. All right. So
no, I appreciate that. That
so
gives me
that
a better understanding to be able, cause like it's like you have this understanding almost, but you can't explain it.
right.
Not
Sometimes.
not all the
Hmm.
time. Not like personally, it took a bit of experience for me to understand that I'm an observer. So like it wasn't like an innate thing that I understood, but through my experience, I understood that, and then now that you telling me this and giving me this explanation, it you know
It bring it clear. It gives because sometimes having a way to explain it helps clarify the concept and help you visualize it in your mind's eye. Because that's the difference between knowing something and understanding something. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
knowing some information. It's the difference between knowing the color red exists, being able to read the word red, but you never saw it before. Like
Right.
seeing it is understanding it. So you
Seeing
gotta
it
be
will
able
be
to see
understanding
it
it.
up here.
Come on now, right? That's right there.
So, boom. So with that eye at the center now, I'll ask you this: what are you doing right now? There was a book that I read, and I'll tell you in a second which one it was, but it helped me understand this, and this is how I kind of broke it. Like
Mm.
this was a this exercise right here helped me understand some shit a lot better.
Okay.
What what are you doing right now?
Um. Okay. I'm talking to you, and I was rolling the blunt at the same time.
Okay, okay. So that's what the conscious mind in you is doing, right?
Right.
Right now, you're doing probably 1,000 to 1,000,000 more things than what you just said to me, right? In your body, in your mind right now, your body is you regulating waste being put away. You
Mhm.
regulating your body temperature. You might be digesting some food from earlier. You regulating complicated chemical
Reactions. Yup.
reactions right now. You keeping your heart beating on a rhythm. All of this shit you doing right now.
Breathing
Even
air without thinking.
contracting your muscles and all that. Exactly. All that. Are you doing that?
Not consciously. I'll tell you that.
The you that you think of you as he ain't
Yeah.
doing
The me that
that.
I just called was rolling the blunt. That wasn't me. That was damn
Right.
regulating my pH. I wasn't doing that.
Right, the you that be fucking up and forgetting the keys when you walk out the door and shit and all that.
God damn it.
that ain't the motherfucker that's doing that, right?
That can't be. That nigga will forget to regulate his pH then.
Your shit be all fucked up. You
Y'all
was-
fucked up. Goddamn. Wake up retarded as
You be all fucked up if it was you doing that, right?
hell.
So you gotta think about it, cause this shit is performing high science at a high, you know what I'm saying, at
At
a
a faster than light rate almost.
quantum rate, cause it's like all of that at the same time. So what do you think that is?
That's big eye.
There you go.
That's
That's
big eye
the
right there.
idea of God living inside of you. You being God, that whole scenario. It's a scientific thing. You know what I'm saying?
Instead of just a little bit, instead of that shit they be talking about, you're a god, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You're a god, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta be motherfucking listen to these, none of that. You're a god. You're a god,
You
brother.
better watch your ego. Beware your ego. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, it's true, but beware your ego. Cause you a mere mortal too, nigga. Like
You're
I
a
said
mere
before.
mortal.
You know what I'm saying? So be careful what you saying out here, especially when you grabbing this microphone. You know what I mean? But so what that what that understanding and when the book and the book is called the Metu Netta for any, because I just, even though I ain't into plugging everybody's shit, that's knowledge right there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that
I'm
one's a
in
good
that
one.
for, yeah. So and it's a Egyptian theology, but realistic, not that Europeanized BS. But he went forward to say, now if this intelligence is existing in you and more or less it's in the back of your head. It's your animal brain. That intelligence kind of, that's where it live at. He's like, yo, if that shit could do all of that, you don't think it could help you figure out, your little money problem that you got right now, or your relationship problem that you got right now, or whatever. All you gotta do is learn how to access that shit, right?
Right.
So that's so that gives you just a practical kind of roadmap or clue. You know what I'm saying? Of what you really doing when you doing all of this spiritual, religious, whatever. What is the goal of this shit? You know what I'm saying? The goal
It's,
is to keep. What?
oh, I was gonna
You
say
tell me. You tell
it's to
me.
tap into that nigga that's controlling everything right now. Talk to that nigga real quick.
Common sense, let's use some logic here. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Because everything got to make sense if you're going to do it, right? So, up above and beyond anybody's cage of thinking that they want to keep you in with their religion, it's like, it's cool if it works for you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a program and a way to do that, accomplish that goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say there's any one or any many ways, because people will think different things. I just know my way and I stand on what I stand on. So here are some of the ways of staying in resonance with self. The most important tenet for staying in resonance with self is acknowledging reality. Okay? And that, as is said in religious texts, begins with the word.
Okay.
Okay, what do I mean when I say that?
Yeah, they
The
gonna
law of your tongue. Huh?
No, I was saying, yeah, because when you leave it at word, that could be interpreted all type of ways.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll never leave it just like that because that shit doesn't mean nothing. And that's where niggas be doing. They be like leading people to something and then and just leave you there and like, okay, what does it mean? Nah, I'm gonna tell you what it means. Okay, what it means is that if you are a Christian, and we'll just use their that because I use a lot of biblical references because a lot of people can resonate with it,
Yeah, most people grew up in a Christian home or
especially black folk. You know what I'm saying? So but they say in the beginning there was a word, and the word was God, and they were one, right?
right.
So the word, if you pay really close attention to all of those early scriptures of Genesis, you pick up on a theme. There's a lot of use of the word covenant and and the word and agreements made with men, right? And the
Okay.
nations and an agreement with Israel and a covenant. God, it means that God is a fanatic about your word, keeping your
Mm.
word, and it makes sense because God gonna keep His end of this deal every day, no matter what you do. Every day that sun gonna rise, your lungs gonna keep moving, and your blood gonna keep pumping until the day you supposed to not be here no more. And all of those things is gonna be in order, no matter what you do with that, right?
Mm. Right.
So that's just the scientific interpretation. Bringing it back is like, listen, you and your word is very important when it comes to staying in resonance with yourself, right?
Right.
Do your word to other people, yes, but maybe more important. No, 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 not maybe. Even more importantly, your word to yourself is
You know,
very important
the
when it
I and I.
comes to keeping in resonance with yourself. Okay, and that is a hidden connection that a lot of people miss. When you lie to yourself, you basically committing the worst sin. You lying to God, like, you know what I'm saying?
Cause the nigga in the back of your head, that nigga know.
He know you lying. He know he watching everything going on in there. Like, don't lie to me. I'm your best friend, nigga.
Sitting right there like, what the
What the fuck are you doing lying to me?
nigga
I'm
said
your
I'm a
best
friend. No. Listen, man, that's crazy.
Yo, you lying to yourself. So you got, and this is my thing. Like, this is starts to center your understanding of how to goddamn walk the path that you supposed to walk and be the person you supposed to be, regardless of any of this static going on outside. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in resonance with yourself. Like, if you said to yourself, yo, I'm just start going to the gym next month and working out. Yeah, nigga. If you said that to yourself, and then next month comes,
You
and
want to
yourself
say
watch your punk ass not be in that gym, you don't like you no more. You got a problem with you a little bit now, and that shit builds up. And people, I mean, it's funny, right? But that shit is real. Like, you really be violating yourself, and that starts to make that distance between them. Niggas be wondering why they lost and all of this shit, and you know
mm-hmm.
you don't have no peace. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you peace. I watched you be a piece of shit.
Dang. It's certain things I'm starting to make connections with as we just go through it. So don't mind my faces. But yeah, nah, I just don't want to jump ahead in the conversation because, like getting
Nah,
back
go
to like
ahead. I
no,
want you
just one of the
to.
things you were saying was, you got your word to others, your word to yourself. And then we have conversations all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the conversations we had, we brought up gambling, right? And
Right.
like your
Well, I
take
told
on
you about
gambling,
that.
your take on gambling is
Yeah.
pretty strong. But I don't want to steal the
No.
spotlight. But you
No,
just
okay, I'm glad you brought it up. I'll flesh it out for him. So I was telling him that, I've come to the conclusion that gambling is a spiritual activity. It's now, it's of course it's dangerous. Just because it's spiritual don't mean it's not dangerous. Okay, so let me just because y'all be thinking spiritual means. Yeah, I was saying that I've come to the conclusion that gambling is a spirit. Oh, just because something is spiritual don't mean it's not dangerous or dark. Because a lot of people be thinking it's all unicorns and rainbows and shit.
But yeah, getting back so we don't get too far off, you were saying, it's not dark. I mean, don't think that it can't get dark. Don't think that it can't get crazy, just because of
Yeah, because
spirituality, it ain't
people.
all lights and rainbows.
Yeah, people be thinking that everything look one way, but gambling and gambling has a stigma. So of course somebody be like, "What the fuck you mean gambling is spiritual?" But gambling is spiritual, and the reason why is because it's a test of your word. And for a man, because let's say me and you, was, walking down the street, we see something, and we arguing about how it might turn out. And
Right?
you believe real strongly that you think it's going to turn out this way, and I think it's going to turn out this way. We just argue. Eventually, like, okay, we ain't gonna argue forever, so let's do something to settle it. Now, men got a lot of ways of doing that, fighting, or whatever the case may be. But gambling is one of them, right? If the shit turn out this way, it goes my way. If this shit turn out the other way, it go your way. And you might say, okay, we might say, okay, I think this kid is an iller player than that kid. You like, nah, that's my man. That nigga getting busy on the court. Da 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 da. We argue. All right, boom, 1-on-1. They play. If this nigga win, you know what I'm saying? $1,000. You pay me or I pay you. Who man win? All right, so now you just put your word on it. So now, you believed in that so much that you put your money where your mouth was. Okay, you lose now. Now it's time to pay up. Are you going to keep your word? You know what I'm saying? That's a serious question at that point for a man. Because, if you ain't got no honor, you're going to try to find that. Like, this is a spiritual test. Like, because that's an honor thing at that point. Like, all right, you lost fair and square. Now I'm looking at you. I don't mean you no malice. It's just your word. You said this. Are you going to pay me or do we have to get into some gangster shit over this?
Because he don't want to keep your word. Now we got to get into some gangster shit. And that's key because that's where a lot of problems start.
Because niggas don't know what honor is and they don't have honor and they don't understand the connection between honor and spirituality, even though everybody senses it.
Even as a child.
Every man, at least, women have a weaker sense of honor. If you, just be honest, because they're quick to, just
Do the most obscene shit
bend,
ever.
bend all rules for their own comfort. You know what I'm saying? And that's a dishonorable thing to do. Men have a stronger sense of honor. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's why there's just certain rules of being men. Like that's why we don't do the gay thing. Like that's an honor thing. Women, they don't have such a stringent sense of honor. Like if you ever watch women like hang out with each other or with no man around, they'll be slapping each other on
Each
the
other's
ass and
ass and all type
yeah,
of
squeezing each other titties. It's like,
unruly
girl,
shit.
did your shit grow? You know what I'm saying? It's like niggas can't do that with each other.
Yeah, nah. It's just something
That's
within us that, and then because
it's
that
not
lead.
just something. I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's the fact of the threat of violence. Like, and that's why people, as much as people don't like violence, like that little, it's necessary, a little underlying tension, and just, yeah, you can get fucked up. That needs to be in society at all times, just to keep, because it's that make men have certain boundaries and shit with each other. Like,
Hmm. The
it's
reason
really
why
just that.
it's
Women don't
partly
have
why.
to worry. Like, women fight now more, but that's not really a native thing for women. More I. So, their etiquette is looser because that threat ain't as imminent as it is for us.
Right. Like I was about to say, the underlying understanding between two strangers that are men is that we both understand if shit go awry,
If shit go
nick,
left, it could
niggas
get bloody. If
niggas that somebody might not make it home tonight, and niggas is usually trying to make it home.
And if you notice, that shit is kind of waning in society, and so because of that, you get a lot of more looser morals amongst men.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is, as much as somebody might disagree with what I'm saying, it just happens to be the truth. I know this because I've been in a very martial environment for a long time, and I just happen to be a thinker.
Yeah, like
So,
in your
so
audio book, one of the things that you quoted was "might is right." That's what you learned.
yeah, and what it is that I learned that is actually the reality, but there's levels to it, so it actually leads somewhere better. What it is that the strong rule the weak. That's true. Don't never let nobody tell you otherwise. The strong rule the weak, but the wise rule the strong.
Mm.
And so what happens, and this is my thing, my theory. Um, what black people have been experiencing in the United States before, like, shit got really, really crazy lately, is, like in the 90s with crack and all of this, and
Hmm.
we was experiencing a lot of interference, but also something called the feudal age. Feudal. Now, if you pay attention to history like I do, every developed nation in the world currently went through something called the feudal age.
Hmm.
Feud is the root word. Feud. That means a fight. That means conflict. Okay?
Hmm.
And the feudal age is characterized by knights, kings, lords, and, a lot of warfare.
A lot of bloodshed.
Where other people, it's medieval times. You know what I mean? Japan went through a feudal age. China went through a feudal age. Europe went through a feudal age. Um, and if you look at the story of Mongolia and Genghis Khan and Africa and Shaka Zulu, same thing. So they don't call it that, but feudal age. It was just forced by one man, and they
Mm.
unified the whole nation and created this war machine that created a nation and a legacy. You know what I'm saying? So getting back to the point, or bringing it back to us,
Hmm.
niggas fighting in the streets for blocks, all that, shooting shit up. What I ran into, I'm gonna just illustrate it. I ran into, when I was in the feds, I was in there with a dude named Romar. I was in there with him in Schuylkill in Pennsylvania.
Feel like I heard. I remember
And
telling me about school. I feel
yeah,
like I might have heard a story. Was
yeah.
that the
So
one that was messed up really bad?
what you mean messed up really bad?
Like you told me a story that the dude had took a real serious beating. That he was some old head. Had told you that gave you some gems about like how to keep yourself together. But he had went
Oh,
through some serious shit when he
oh
was
nah,
okay.
that was in the nah, that was in the island. But in Schuylkill, I ran into a dude named Romar, and Romar was, there was this movie called King of New York. It came out maybe early '90s, I think, and it was Christopher Walken. He was this Jewish gangster in New York. It's based on a true
Oh,
story.
I've seen a couple people talk about that movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
his name was Frank White in the movie, and
Yeah.
that's where Biggie pulled his name, his alter ego from Frank White. So
Okay.
Frank White, the character Christopher Walken had another character played by what's the dude from the Matrix, the black dude? I'm forgetting.
Fishburne.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. I don't know why I couldn't think of that right there.
His
But
name is.
Lawrence. Yeah, his name is a household staple. But Lawrence Fishburne played Christopher Walken's like right hand man.
Okay.
That character was based on Romar. Romar was the real life nigga from who they based that
Who they
movie
based that
like
off of?
off of. And Christopher Walken's character, Frank White, he was in Schuylkill 2 with me. He was in a different unit, but Romar was in my unit. But I used to see them niggas talk to each other in law library and shit when I would go to law library. But so one day, I was cool with Romar and shit. So one day, I'm fucking with Romar and shit. I'm like, yo, Romar. I'm like, yo, what is like, they made a movie off your shit, nigga. And that nigga got serious on me real quick. He was like, don't talk to me about that shit. Don't talk to me about that shit. That shit I did, it ain't do nothing for my people. Don't talk to me about that shit. I was like, all right, my bad, Romar. And, I fell back and shit. But that shit had me thinking later on in the cell. You know what I'm saying? And I got to understand. I was like, you know what? These crackers snatching niggas off the street at the height of their power. That ain't doing us. That wasn't doing us no good. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when niggas is young and they hot headed and shit, they gonna clash. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas gotta figure out who's the boss. Like that's just how animals operate. You know what I'm saying?
Similar to like, sorry to cut you off, but just so I can create a juxtaposition, it's similar to like how niggas in the jail scene, like you explained the last one. The jail scene is very fresh. Niggas don't know nobody. It's a lot of jockeying. But when you move into that next level, that prison scene where everybody familiar with everybody, niggas know what you
There
on.
you go. And that's what they're preventing us from getting to. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to go through the feudal age to set the authority and the framework. If you look, and I learned this not just by that, but also because I was studying law in there and I was studying hidden law, a lot of shit that niggas is just figuring out now, that about how they manipulate the laws and the system and the hidden shit in the system, and a lot of that shit this whole system and its root has its roots in Europe, in England, and if you read English history, you know what I'm saying, the history of the monarchs and the lords and shit, I can get really deep on the law shit, but I'm gonna try to keep it a little more surface level. But
Right.
basically, the monarch ideology is that the king is above the law because the king decides what the law will be. All right?
Right.
Okay. So what happened with the lords is that, they ended up fighting with the king because when they had the king that was a little too, aggressive with his policies and shit. So they ended up fighting that nigga, going to war with that nigga. And long story short, what happens is that a king or a monarchy, or especially when you're talking about a young man that's left in his power, what happens is he grows up. Okay? If you leave him alone, yeah, he might have did a lot of fucked up shit to get there, right? A lot of kids, he might have killed a lot of people, whatever. But if you leave him the fuck alone for a little minute, you gamble on a good goddamn chance that he gonna grow up and get wiser. And what happens is that from that, law is established. Because right now, you just got a bunch of niggas with opinions. Right? Nobody with no muscle to enforce their perspective on everybody else. And as much as people don't like that, right? Freedom. What are we talking about? Right? Freedom from what? freedom from what? Black people have not been fighting to go about and be free and be animals. Black people have been fighting. Our ancestors have been fighting, were fighting, have been fighting, and still are fighting as much as they can through these broken headspaces that niggas got for self-determination. We set our own law, not we just do whatever the fuck we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just run around being a fucking asshole. You know what I'm saying? You got to have something that you're doing that makes everything make sense, or else you don't have a nation, you won't have a nation, and everybody else that's able to follow a program will dominate you.
Partly why we had so that would be basically your answer to why niggas can't never seem to get no organization or union going.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So bringing that back, science of the self.
Mm-hmm.
You have your eye. The way to understand life, the best way that I've been able to understand it is biology.
Okay.
We like, yo, there's got to be something that you operate in accordance with that's greater than yourself in order for your shit to make any kind of sense.
Right. In order for it to hold validity in the heart of other people. You know what I'm saying? If you was, I mean, like obviously for yourself, because anybody can run with their own program, right? But if you was to try to impose it on anyone else, that shit gotta have, you know what I'm saying? If I was to say,
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to really understand what you were saying before I say anything about it, but it's close. It's close to what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because the part that you brought up that's interesting is this ideology of living your own truth, right? Because that's what a lot of people are
that's where
into
we
right
at
now,
right now.
right?
That's where we at.
That's where we at right now. So touching on that, what's your truth? I mean, when you talk about your truth, is that just a lot of shit that you think? Because you can think things that ain't right, and it'll show itself later on. So ultimately, scientifically, human beings are herd animals. We are social animals. We are mammals. Okay, so reptiles can live their life and not give a fuck about nothing or no. But reptiles lay eggs, leave their babies, go about their goddamn business, and continue. Like that's a reptilian way of living. We not reptiles. So even though yeah, I get all of that, cause I'm a dude that says, does me. So I
Yes.
understand exactly where people be coming from, and sometimes you can't care about what other people think, but that's within the context of a principle. You know what I'm saying? That actually makes sense. Like, um, so I'm not gonna give examples because, to be honest, the things people believe in right now that just they be surprised how wrong they are about a lot of things. So I'm not gonna give
Okay.
examples, you know what I'm saying? But I'll just say that you have to, if you're gonna do that, I don't care about what other people think shit. That's fine. But you better know yourself before you do that, and you better know yourself very well. Because trust me, people who've taken it to the extreme, like people who've gone trans and all of that before they were in touch with themselves because they ain't want to hear this and they knew that, look where you end up. So you better know. You better make sure you made that trip deep into yourself before you take that ideology that you're not going to listen to nobody, especially people who kind of older than you and who may seem to have some sense. I know there's a lot of old fools in the world. It's a hard world to navigate. Nobody said it was easy, but at the end of the day, like you got to be able to understand when you hearing wise counsel and listen to it, or you know you're gonna find out a lot of things the hard way.
Right. Well, Kuzma,
And I done
because
found out a lot of shit the hard way. It's not fun.
yeah, I got my fair share.
Yeah, you know. Anybody who really lived life does, and there ain't nothing wrong with having your fair share. But don't be that motherfucker that don't learn. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be keep because every time you have to repeat a lesson, I've noticed in life, the stakes
Mm,
get a little higher and a little higher and a little higher, and you lose a little more every time you make the same dumbass mistake until it costs you everything. You know what I mean? Because you won't learn. You know, so it's just. It's just, and you know, it's wild because these are the shit I be saying is shit people don't want to hear. Cause it's like shit that niggas heard when they was a kid. We all niggas my age remember you know niggas people got the older people got on us heavy about a lot of shit. You know, the motherfuckers don't want to hear that shit. Cause you a kid. You know what I'm saying? You want to have your chance to do it your way and see if your way work
right.
better, right? I get it. I've been there. And you got the right to do it, some. But, you know, they had the old saying, hard head make it soft behind, right?
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't just in the household. That's out here in this world, okay?
Thanks.
Niggas don't. I seen niggas who don't learn and who just really hard headed, and you know, eventually that thing you don't want to happen ever to happen, yeah, it happens.
Man, you get cut off. Lights cut off. Damn.
hmm I mean, for and it happens a lot of different ways. Some niggas get buried. There's a lot of niggas in there and they were never gonna see outside of there again. That's just it. That's like,
That's a different way, but yeah, same result.
yeah. You no longer amongst the living over there. That's the underworld.
Yeah, you a dead man walking.
Yeah, legally too. If you know the science,
Right.
civilitur mortis. You legally dead. You ain't.
You got
That's
no
why the
rights.
motherfucker ain't got no rights. That's why niggas don't win appeals unless they want you to. Unless they feel like throwing somebody a bone today.
Mm,
It don't depend on nothing else. Cause literally, once they put you in there, you in there. You ain't got to pay no more attention to you.
yeah.
And nobody can hear you scream in there either.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just bringing it back to self, you know. Um,
Yeah. What you got to say on it? Any questions or shit that you want to add on?
um, honestly, not anything I could think of off the top, you know. I don't want to be rambling. So I think you really, I got the gambling thing out the way. Definitely wanted to have you put your, 2 cents on that. Um,
Yeah. As as I go through the certain things, so being in resonance with yourself, trying to figure out what that is. Boom. Touched on that.
mhm.
The observer. Let me
Right.
go back. Let me go back to this observer ideology real quick because there is an angle of that you probably don't need, but some people need because they have a problem with mental health and they don't understand. They don't understand. So if you got mental health issues, the first thing you need to understand is that observer idea.
Right.
Because that observer, that you, that's seeing everything right now, you not being able, you're probably having a problem of not being able to control what's being presented to this observer, right? And and you know, there's a whole host of things you observing in yourself, all these emotions and shit, and you identifying with them. You feel like these are your thoughts.
Mm.
You feel like this is your emotion, that you are feeling this, and you are, but nah, you observing it, right? You have to start to exercise the power of the observer. And what the observer has, the power of the observer is this. The observer is not the originator of these thoughts. The observer is not the originator of these emotions. So you, yourself, you're not actually the originator of these thoughts and emotions. They are a pattern, though. They are energy patterns that come from, that have risen from maybe your experiences and traumas and shit in your life, energy patterns that are keep repeatedly presented to the observer because of your experiences, but they're not you. Okay? So the first thing you gotta do is stop identifying with that shit. You say, I see, I feel anger, or I'm observing that I feel anger, or, I'm observing this thing, or I'm observing this thought, but that's not my thought. And so the power of the observer is this. He can choose what he decides to pay attention to.
Right.
The less attention you pay to certain shit, the less energy you give it. Attention is worship. That's a concept I can get into deeper on another one. But if you pay the shit attention, you empower the shit.
Mm.
So, yeah, as the
Yeah, no,
observer.
I said because it reminded me of a show, American Gods, where they played with that very same idea.
Oh yeah, actually, that was a good show. That was the show that show I watched. That's based on a book, and it kind of solidified that because I ran into that understanding in my law studies, but because the law studies get pretty deep, because honestly the law starts in nature and it kind of grows into spirituality, and from spirituality or religion, what we call religion, it grows into the law. So what gave me a respect for the law is when I realized what the law actually is, when I was really got deep into studying it. And when you practicing law properly, what you're supposed to be doing is observing the laws of nature in operation, but not just on the physical level like science. That's science. That's good. That's what you're supposed to do. But then there's also like metaphysical law, I guess you could
Remember
call it.
dynamics.
Dynamics and principles that you can't really see the same way you can see somebody fall off a cliff and know that there's gravity, but you can see, oh, okay, I see somebody took something from somebody else that they thought was theirs, and I saw the conflict that happens, and I saw it again, and I saw it again, and I saw it again. Okay, this is the thing, don't steal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thou shalt not steal. Okay, I seen somebody fuck another nigga bitch, and I seen what happened because of that, and I saw it again, and I saw it again, and I
And
saw it
again,
again. Okay, don't fuck a nigga
fucking don't do
bitch.
that. Don't do that.
This is
Niggas
how
don't
you
like
get.
that.
This is how you get law, spirituality, that sort of shit. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And that gets into
Oh,
some of the
going into the
last.
gambling, see a nigga make a promise, make a promise, make a
Don't
promise,
don't
make a
ask bet.
nigga,
Thou shalt not ask bet.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Man,
Yo,
they
like, this is a law. Follow this shit. Don't get your shit fucked up. But yeah, yeah, man. So when it comes to staying in resonance with self, you know, we all have a conscience, right? No,
right.
those of us, most of us, anyway. Here, sociopaths don't, but we all have a conscience. Um, we all have that experience of having that voice in the back of our heads telling us what, like, you supposed to be doing something that you're not doing. Everybody got that.
Yep.
You supposed right now. You probably got something you supposed to be doing that you ain't did, or you got something that you might be doing or plan to do later that you don't feel like you're supposed to be doing. Everybody has that experience. So being in resonance with self is about not being a fucking liar, really. And so to bringing it back to the beginning, right, of where I started the podcast is like reality, recognizing, acknowledging reality, not being a liar, being honest, even with yourself. Like if you doing something that you ain't supposed to be doing, keeping it real with yourself, not making up stories and fairy tales about why this is okay. Cause that voice in the back of your head, like
Nigga.
you know what it's saying. And I ain't got to get in nobody's head. I'm looking at you and nigga. You know what your voice is saying to you, every one of us. Do it or stop. Whatever it's telling you.
Whatever it's telling you to do, whatever it's telling you not to do, my nigga, you gotta. If you
Like,
if
damn.
you're doing things you don't want to be ashamed of,
Right, it's simple like that, and at very least, if you're gonna do it, knowing that voice in the back of your head is telling you you ain't supposed to be doing it, don't create a fairy tale to make it right and justify it to other people because you define the voice in your head. Say, yeah, I do this. I'm a piece of shit. And that's just what it is.
at
I'm a piece
least
of shit for that. You know what I'm saying? For that. You know what I mean? Other shit I do well, but that, yeah, I ain't no good at that. And just be honest. And that'll keep you in resonance with yourself because at least it'll keep you knowing that you got something to work on and being real and not being one of these niggas that just, because listen, one thing I learned, lying is a lethal habit for a specific reason that a lot of people are not aware of. And that's the more that you lie, which is to create a false reality in your own head first and then spread it, right? Is the more that you deny the truth, you deny reality. And if you continue to lie, the more you do it, the more you lose touch with what the truth is, which is to lose touch with reality, which is to go insane. Okay? So it is very, very ill advised to have lying as a habit because you will lose touch with reality over time and you won't even know it. But that's enough of that for this episode, man. We gonna wrap it up.
yes, indeed.
Um, Another good one. Uh,
Another good one for the
hopefully,
books, for sure.
hopefully the people got some. Hopefully, we always have these kind of conversations, so I know we
Yeah,
got.
but this one actually helped me put some more pieces together for the self thing. So that was pretty dope.
Well, if nothing else happened good, that's all I'm supposed to be doing. That's all I'm responsible for.
Right. Thanks.
All right. So, Father, Son, the Holy Ghost.
Trolley.
Trolley.
Trolley
Excuse me.
ghost.
How did I make that mistake? But
Nah,
you know
you're
what?
trolling. Because you're trolling.
Shit, shit gets holy though. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. I'm your host, Heru.
Nyriq, y'all be safe. Good night. Or,
Yeah,
peace.
we out. Peace.